How can you tell if it's on?
It's red.
Okay. Good morning. I call to order this meeting of the Easthampton Commission on Disability for July 2nd, 2019. So, is there anybody here to speak to anything not on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
I bought a house here about 2 years ago. Soon after I moved in, I found out the van for the disabled wasn't going to work on Sundays anymore. Now, we don't get an email or anything official. They just change their mind when they
Which
feel like it.
van is this?
National
PVTA?
It's for the PVTA, yes.
PVTA?
So we all know how politics works. Now it's Sunday, what'll it be soon? I can't live here if I can't get around. And there is really no in between walking and the van. The van makes up all kinds of decisions when we can feel like it. New rules when they feel like it. It's crazy stuff. You have to spend an hour and a half at the grocery store to look around to the grocery store, which is ridiculous because half of the time they drop you off early and pick you up late. So that gives me, what, 3 hours at the grocery store, which I really don't
A
need.
loaf of bread.
Yeah, you know, and I get that, and I'm sure you've all seen that before. I get that look when I'm sitting inside the grocery store with my dog and all my bag.
Yeah.
Oh, that poor lady.
Yeah.
Of course, that makes me want to give somebody the finger, but I don't.
Yeah.
But now, honestly, I've spent 2 years fixing up an old home, and most likely I'm going to have to move because we know what politics and how these things work. First, they shut off Sundays, which tells me that Easthampton just isn't important enough.
Well, you know, the city itself has no control over those kinds of things.
No, they don't, but they certainly should be involved, and they certainly should
We
care.
are.
Yeah.
Every time anything is brought to the public attention by the PVTA with their wanting to either raise fares, cut routes, change routes, or any of that kind of stuff, we always send a letter to PVTA asking them not to raise fares, not to change the routes.
I don't even care if they raise fares, man. I need to be able to get around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the PVT is only required to provide paratransit service that coincides with regular bus service.
Right, so if the
And
bus runs here, the
Yeah.
van has to. Unfortunately, that's not true on Sundays.
Yeah.
The bus runs through here, but the van doesn't.
The bus doesn't run through here either.
On Sundays it does.
Really?
Yes, they have less
They have
access.
reduced service on
They have
Sunday?
reduced service on Sundays, but they do. If you stand around anywhere on a Sunday, you see a PVT bus go by.
Really? I didn't think that, all right.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, because
They cut it
Yeah.
down.
I would love to take the bus somewhere with my daughter, and I just didn't think that was an option Sunday.
I will double check that, but
Yeah.
Well,
Jim, can you look up the bus?
Yeah, I was just-
right now?
They were looking to cut routes.
and they did
Yeah.
They did, okay.
on
Right.
Sundays.
No, yeah, I don't think I think they're allowed to have extra paratransit service if they want to, but they don't
Well,
want to.
you know, if they said to us because there's
Budget
not,
thing.
because it's a small town and there's not enough business, if they said to us you have to sign up for weekend rides on Wednesday, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Right.
You know, give us something to work with, but absolutely
I can't
no,
get service down here, so.
no service at all means,
Yeah.
and you know it's a slippery slope.
Right.
You know first it's Sundays and it will keep going down.
Yeah.
I bought a home here and I'm not gonna be able to stay here.
And the fact that the service is terrible, like, is also, like, that's,
Well, I mean, we can complain
It's
about it, but
separate,
actually
yeah.
you gotta go to the PVTA and the diner and everybody else.
Interesting.
Anything about that. There were 4 towns, Enfield, Ludlow, Palmer, and Easthampton that all lost service on Sundays. So apparently here are the 4 towns that are just not important enough.
How long ago did the Sunday service stop?
My long and short-term memory is very shaky, but I moved here about 2.5 years ago, and it was about, I want to say 6 months after I moved in, but you can't count on my memory.
Oh, yeah, so
And
there
there
was
was
service.
an
oh,
announcement
sorry.
about it. I just literally called to book a ride and they said, we have no service on Sundays anymore. And I was like, excuse me? When did, you know?
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting, but,
No.
yeah, so there were cuts in service, to a number of routes, maybe a year ago, so that might have been when it happened.
It could be, you can't count on my memory, I'm sorry about that.
Does the R41 not exist anymore? Why is it not on the website? It doesn't exist?
I've never
The R41 exists, but it doesn't run on Sunday, at least not
Yeah,
anymore.
I'm not seeing, I'm not seeing it on the website.
Where if you click the Northampton tab,
Did they change the number?
Do you need it every Sunday?
No, I just know that first it's Sundays, and then it's gonna slowly get less, we're gonna get less and less service. And I bought a home here, I don't particularly feel like
Yeah.
moving again in my, so, and for for an older person who just wants to go to church and then go to French with her friends, sorry, you can't go.
I mean, they're not doing anything with the R41 because of HCC. You know, we're not, we wouldn't,
well, that's not necessarily true.
Yeah,
I mean, because
I guess they can do what they want.
they can cut summer service, they can cut weekend service, because there aren't too many classes on the weekends, they can do all kinds of stuff.
Are there any alternatives to this service?
Well, for elder people, there's the elder vans. For vets, there's a lot of vans and things for them. Vets have a lot of backup, a lot of support, yes.
Well, I was thinking more of, do we have cabs here?
No.
No private?
The first time I went out in Northampton, my friend said, how do you get home? I said, I'm gonna grab a cab. There's like 20 bars on the street. There wasn't one cab.
Well, there are cabs, but they don't patrol, you have to.
Aaron's is
call
very
them.
good, but you do have to wait a long time for them.
Yeah, to
But
get a,
that's the only one I found.
yeah, cab service, I mean, there's no cabs based in Easthampton, so if you call a cab, they have to come here from like Northampton or something like that, so they will, it costs a lot to get a cab.
Yeah.
Well, certainly cabs are far more expensive than public transportation.
And I don't know about Uber, but
Uber's creepy, especially
Wow.
if you can be unconscious at any moment. Uber's very
Yeah.
creepy.
well,
And that's just a personal opinion. The bottom line is, I think just that if Easthampton wants to become an active town with things growing and changing it, we can't be on the list of people who they're cutting off. The town can't be one of those towns they're gonna keep cutting off and things like transportation for the disabled.
I hear what you're saying, and I empathize, but, when the cuts to PVTA's budget come from the state and PVTA cuts their budget, they really don't pay much attention to what people say.
They don't tell us.
They don't just cut these services without having public hearings.
I would imagine a lot depends on how much usage.
It all depends on ridership. It's all a matter of
Yeah.
money. That's all there is to it.
yeah.
And if they apparently, in spite of the objections of people that did write or go to the public meetings, in spite of those objections, they still made the cuts. They wanted to make more severe cuts, and they didn't. So,
Bottom line is for Easthampton as a town, I'm gonna have to, still doesn't take care of, if you can't take care of your disabled, I can't live.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a sad thing, and it's not necessarily your problem or the mayor's problem or even the PVTA's problem. But if you want to be a town that is growing and changing,
well, as I said, I hear what you're saying, but even the city, in spite of the fact that the city council sent letters in support of keeping the fares down and not cutting services.
Had I known about that, I wouldn't have been able to be there.
Well, it isn't a whole lot better in other places either.
Yes,
You
it
know,
still
depends
stinks
on-
in Springfield, but I get it. It might stink in Springfield, be a pain in Springfield, but it's still, I mean, I can still get where I want to go when I need to go.
Yeah, but then you gotta live in Springfield.
That's what I did for 10 years, and believe me, it's still, there's more people using it, there's more people making noise, there's trouble, and there's more information back and forth.
So your 41 does not run on Sundays either.
So there is no
There's no buses.
on Sundays?
It sucks.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, and if you want, I mean, if you want people to use the bus, then they have to be able to rely on it, right? And
Yeah.
if it's like, oh, I need to go someplace, oh, but there are no buses today, like, I guess I can't go anywhere, then you're not, I mean, I used to be on the Amherst Public Transportation and Bicycle Committee, and there were always these things, well, ridership is down, we should cut service. It's like, well, ridership is down because
you cut service.
because the service sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah, pure and simple.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I always had a problem with, you can't get anywhere past 8, and,
Yeah, certain times.
past certain times.
Oh,
and Nashawanic doesn't start running till later, and,
What's it cost for bus fare?
It's $1.50, yeah.
See, they don't want me on their bus. I have frequent seizures. I have a grand mal seizure on one of the
Yeah.
buses. They gotta stop the bus, empty the bus, get a new bus, call an ambulance, call the police, get their insurance agency. They don't want me on the bus. And I don't necessarily particularly want to take the bus. If I'm confused after a seizure that I don't know I've had, I could get off at the wrong stop and God knows where I'd end up.
So is your concern with the Flex van service, the Nashawanic Express, or are you talking about?
I don't even know what the National Express is.
Okay, so you're talking about specifically ADA transportation that you take, okay.
Yeah, the Nashawanic Express is another bus route that serves Easthampton. That supposedly they can like deviate from the route a little bit if you ask them to. That's what the flex service that Jeff was referring to.
Find that hard to imagine.
Do you have to call them or?
I don't know. I've never
Yeah.
done that.
What it is there's a, they allow a buffer time in their route, so there's an extra half hour, and they're not go, so, there's some waiting time involved. So if you need to get a half a mile out of the way or a block out of the way, they'll just bring you to your doorstep and then get back on the route. If you let the driver know, that's what a flex van is.
Do you know if they run on Sunday?
No, nothing runs on Sunday. That's,
Do we have a list of available services for handicap transportation? Does the city, does this commission
Well, for
have a
instance,
list?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay.
I don't know what the senior center does, Council on Aging. I don't know if they run their transportation services on the weekend or if it's only during the week.
you're talking about for your grandson?
No, I'm talking as a member of the commission.
Okay.
Should we have a list of available services that we can give to people when they need it? And then, if we have a complete list of available services, when we have a problem, as we do now, we know who to contact to see what we can do.
We do have a list of area services. It's on the website.
Transportation?
Pardon?
Transportation? I know
We
there's
have
some,
a listing of area services that
Yeah.
compiles a lot of services that are available to the area, phone
Right.
numbers, contact information.
right.
Some of that transportation is on that list. we don't control those schedules, so it's up to the individual to make phone calls or go online and find out the information they need.
Right, but all I'm asking is there a list? And I see a list here. I copied this from the website.
Okay.
We have emergency services, local hospitals, basic needs.
That in itself, the word basic needs, I get a lot of
Transportation. Okay, we only have two listings under transportation, the Council on Aging and the PVTA. But you're saying there's another one called the Nashawanaga?
Well, that's under
The name
PBTA.
of
It's
one
just
of
the
them.
name of a PBTA group.
Okay.
Where does it go?
It goes to the Academy of Music at one end and to somewhere near the Southampton line at the other end.
Big Y is,
That does,
Big
okay.
Y is this last up, yeah.
Okay.
That's the only place
So-
it goes?
Can I Facebook you a link to the route, like later on today?
Oh, sure.
Sure. All right.
As people who use the transportation system, do you know of another source? It's just these two?
Well, so it's those, I mean, there's other, people can get individual transportation, like to to medical appointments and stuff like that, but that's gonna be through their individual services through the state. Like, let's say someone couldn't ride a regular bus, but needed to get to the doctor. Like, a Riverside client, say, would have a service coordinator, and the service coordinator would make a referral for ADA transportation, which is funded through,
Mass Health.
funded through Mass Health, and the oversight agency is Massachusetts Regional Transit Authority, and, but that's like a separate ADA van that's,
Okay, and that would be somebody who's eligible for that service?
for that
But what about
service.
people like Mary Eileen who are not connected to that kind of service?
Do you have any sort of service coordination or any sort of point person for?
No, I need to go to Boston quite often because
Yeah.
I go to Brigham and Women's. And it's literally a 12-hour day. I start with the van to the Peter Pan, I get Peter Pan to the South Station, then I get a cab, then I get to Brigham. Now, there is a van that goes from Cooley Dickinson to Mass General, and they won't let me use that because I'm not going to not Mass General, I just lost my word, the hospital in Boston.
Because you're not going to the right
I'm not
hospital,
going to
so
the right
you're
hospital.
not.
I figured I could probably get away with making a fake appointment a few times, but I can't.
Mass
really do
General,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is Mass General. There's
'Cause that's who
also,
Cooley's affiliated with.
there's also a plan for people that if you have Mass Health, you can use it, but I can't use it because I don't have Mass Health. So,
That's
you know,
all right. They
my-
take you there and then they forget to pick you up.
I didn't.
I tried it one time. I was stranded for about 3 hours.
Try 3 days. The basic issue for me is really just Sundays, because I know it's a slippery slope. They have quite a snotty attitude about taking me out to go to a bar at night. Guess what? You're not here just to take me to the doctor, you're here to take me wherever I want to go. If I need to get out on a Saturday night, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, and I get very tired of the PBTA acting as if that is not my right, But Sundays is really the issue, because as we all know, it's just one cut, and then the next one you get cut next time too. And I know there's nothing you can do about it, but, the PBTA says it's the company says it's the PBTA, governor says it's the budget, and basically, I just want to make sure I make as much noise as I can, so I wanted to come and see what you gentlemen talked about, and how I'll make a little noise. I'm very, very good at that.
Where in here does it tell you what days of the week the bus runs?
On the schedule, it does.
Well, that's what I've got, Nashawanaga Express, Easthampton.
Well, there's National.
Does it say it runs on Sunday? It still runs on Sunday. I think
It is.
the mayor said it was the only one that hadn't been cut.
This is the bottom of the page. It's only one page. It doesn't go anywhere.
You're right. I don't know. I can't.
You know, there's a comment here
But-
about the bus stops at Hilltown Cooperative Charter School.
I mean, do you have a schedule that
Monday
looks
through
like
Friday.
this? I mean, okay. Monday through Saturday, right here it says. In this
Oh,
red line.
jeez. Thank you. So I'm going blind as well as deaf. Great.
I'm done.
Pardon?
Sorry, I had to come for a family of 5. You can make that one go. So basically, they don't, this has to do with the service, not with the service on Sunday. My main problem is the service on Sunday because I just bought a home here. And again, first it's Sunday, what's it gonna be now? And Sunday is the day when people get together with their families. It's often the day when there's a big birthday party. If the people with disabilities can't get around on one day, just because we don't have enough pull in this town,
This is,
then
yeah.
it's a slippery slope.
Yeah,
So
it's-
it means
yeah,
I've
it
got to
is.
sell my house and move away from East
It's,
Hampton.
it's yeah, I mean, as sociocultural commentary, it's horrible. I just don't know, I mean, I think,
I don't
think-
like the fact that there's nothing we can do. I know there
occupy
is.
the governor's office and see what happens.
No, I'm
you
a
know.
redhead. I make a lot of noise when I make noise.
Yeah, maybe.
But again, it has to do with living here in East Hampton. So
Yeah.
if this city wants to be a vibrant city that's growing, they can't be going backwards with the disabled. It just doesn't work that way.
I wonder what kind of shuttle service, like a shuttle to, thinking, out of the box, something that is gonna be decided way beyond this table, but some sort of shuttle service from, like, say, the senior center in East Hampton to like the Academy of Music or something like
For
that.
instance, for people with disabilities, when this was all happening, when they were making these decisions, I didn't get an email about it. It wasn't on the news, it wasn't on the
Yeah.
website, so I didn't know literally until I called to book a ride. So I would have liked to have been at those meetings, I would have liked to have made a little noise and made a little trouble. But they don't have to let us know when they're making these decisions.
Well, there was plenty about it in the newspapers, and I suppose that's probably how most people found out about it.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure the ridership knew about it until it was published in the
Yeah.
newspaper.
Yeah.
Certainly they didn't hand out slips of paper to people getting on the bus saying, we're going to be cutting stuff. So everybody's in the situation of we can only respond to things that are made public knowledge through newspapers, television. As a matter of fact, I recall hearing something on the evening news about public hearings going on,
About cutting grants.
about
for
cutting
disabled, not
services and
specifically-
raising fares.
Not specifically for East Hampton. They never talked about cutting whole days.
They,
I did hear it on Channel 22, but again, my long and short-term memory are not good. But it was after the fact that people were complaining about it when it was actually being talked about.
Do you belong to any organizations that would be helpful?
No, I mean, there's the Mass TBI group that I belong to, but again, they're more of a support group than anything
And
political.
what is it?
Brain injury, people with brain injuries.
And what is the name of the organization?
Massachusetts TBI.org.
TBI?
TBI.
Traumatic brain.
Oh, traumatic
I
brain.
myself have an acquired brain injury, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But again,
But they don't, it's a support group, they don't do
It's
any
not a
lobbying?
political. They try to make a little noise if something's very obvious, but other than that, no.
Yeah, one of I love East Hampton and I'm really glad that I moved here, but one of the things I really miss is having a purely local paper because you can, I know the Northampton paper covers our area, but sometimes it's hard to find any
didn't even know there
Easthampton
was a
information.
Northampton paper.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and they do have, they do cover us, but not as thoroughly as I would like, but that's just, it's a small town, and there's just so much we can expect. But if you are a member of some organization that keeps track of these kinds of things,
Again, if you have the VA, or if you have the senior citizens, if you belong to a group that's got your back, you
Right.
have a lot more power.
right, and that's why I asked
If
if
you're
you
simply a disabled person living here, then no, nobody's got your back. I'm not a senior citizen, I'm not a VA, I'm not part of Riverside, I'm not, so they're really, nobody's got your back. And I would imagine there's a lot of people like me that don't know this exists, because I
Well,
didn't know this existed.
That's what I was thinking. There are probably a lot of people like you who just don't speak up. We don't know how many people may
Well,
be
honey, it's not
affected
that
by
I'm not
this.
speaking up, I didn't know this existed.
Well, I know, but I'm saying there are other people, and that's part of what this survey is going to
Yes.
bring out. We're developing a survey to find issues, to find out what people need, and but then that's a long way down the road. But it sounds like that's something we really do need.
Okay, I think we need to move on. Update on efforts to get help for disabled with outdoor chores, shoveling, blah, blah. I sent an email to the high school guidance council people. I haven't heard anything back from them yet, so
Probably nobody there.
we're waiting. Pardon?
There's probably nobody there.
I didn't expect to hear anything because when I sent it, it was just prior to the end of the school year, so I figured between getting all that ready to
Yeah.
close down, I wasn't going to hear anything. On Monday, I'll try to contact whoever's in charge of the guidance department again and see what came of the letter. And at this point, that's all I can do. I haven't done anything about the parking at Parsons Place. Are they still doing it?
A day after our last meeting, when we discussed it, I got a letter saying the building had been sold.
Right.
So I have talked to the new owner,
Okay. Have you?
and I sent a detailed email outlining the problems and suggestions and a link with the what they have to do to mark the spaces, because when I talked to him, he didn't know about having to have a sign as well as the markings on the pavement.
Okay.
So that's why I looked and I found a link, which I sent to him. I haven't heard anything yet. He owns a whole lot of apartments in this town, so
Who's the?
Patel, it's Valley.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's apparently
He owns everything down.
Yeah, that's what I've been
Yeah,
told. He owns
he's-
everything.
He's in the process of, well, the planning department's already approved the plans. He's putting in a 16-unit apartment building
College Street
along with
Motors.
some retail space and that kind of thing at
One ferry, is that it?
Cottage Street.
No, Cottage
You know where,
On Cottage Street?
on Cottage Street, there's an old gas station there. They've already torn out the pumps a few years ago and
Yeah.
all that. It's pretty run down. It's right next to Cottage Square
Yeah.
Apartments. It's across from Mount Tom Ice Cream.
Oh, well, I know where that is.
Okay, so across from Mount Tom Ice Cream, there's an old gas station and that's his property, and he's got plans for putting up 16 apartments as well as some retail space on the ground level. And 4 of those are going to be affordable housing. So,
Yeah.
and they're all going to be universal design, so that doorways and stuff are wide enough. But I think 3 or 4 are going to be on the ground floor and handicap accessible.
Well, it's very, when I spoke with him in person, he seemed really nice and concerned
Yeah.
about the issues. So let's hope he really is that way, and the new places will be as he since they will be.
That seems like it would be a good opportunity to get rid of that stupid triangle.
Yeah.
Of roads.
The
Oh,
triangle
in front of the brass cap?
where
Oh, yeah.
There's
you know
two-
where
there's two
Maple
super
Street,
triangles.
where Maple Street intersects
Yes. So
Cottage
big
Street, there's that big triangle.
Yeah.
And I think they should get rid of it and get rid of the diagonal and just have people enter from Adams Street.
That would be nice. I'll have to talk to,
His lips.
Yeah, the
I'll
idea.
have to talk to the street department about rearranging traffic patterns.
Well, and I go that way all the time because my daughter lives down Cottage, and I go behind to have a place to park.
I cross Adams all the time, I
And-
too.
And there are no stop signs. You know, people just go.
There's sidewalk
No, but if
in
you're
front of
driving,
that, in front of that.
yeah. Anyway,
Really
that's
street
not
patterns.
our issue. It is an issue. I keep waiting for the accident.
Yeah, traffic flow is an issue. It's
Yes.
not on the agenda.
Although I must say, it's very, very, very hard to train a service dog when people stop immediately every time you get to a street. And I'm trying to train her to stop and wait and look, and I'm like, we have to hurry because like 4 cars already stopped for us.
Yeah, people are pretty good about stopping.
But I do,
that.
they are very good at stopping when you're trying to cross the street.
Okay, before we get back to the survey, under new business, if you can read my chicken scratching there, Jeff Bagg sent me an email yesterday letting me know that they were going to resubmit the grant application for the ADA Municipal Improvement Grant. When they submitted the grant last year, it was, we didn't win. I don't know how, we weren't declined or anything like that. They said that we had a well-written grant and all of that. It's just a matter of they had to disperse what was available sort of evenly across the state, and we didn't get any money this time. So they're going to resubmit probably the same grant. It would be nice if we could have this survey finished and have some information from the survey to include in the grant, but I don't know that it's necessary.
Are you trying to, you realize that there are a lot of people in this town who are disabled that really don't even know that this exists. So if you're trying to get a survey and find out who's living here, you're gonna have to go off of your sorry, I lose words. Your Facebook page or whatever page you have, your municipal page for this group, and kind of get out there and try to find out who the people are, like myself, who didn't know this existed until I got your email last week. So, again, if you're gonna get a survey and get a really good survey.
Is there an area you think that, that you would check first for events that you don't think many people are posting stuff at? You know, like, where do you think you're not, just, where do you think a lot of the hidden disabled population would check?
I don't know if they even exist, but I know if they're anything like me, that they were trying to work and take care of their homes and get around, and not necessarily thinking, oh, I'm a disabled person, did everybody know that? I mean,
Well, that's one of the
my-
reasons for the surveys, to find out how many people we do have, just roughly, because
I'm not sure how you would do that, I just.
Okay,
the surveys, as soon as we figure out how to distribute it, how to implement it.
part of what we're going to be doing is putting notifications in a number of places, Facebook page, the city website. We can put either hard copies of the survey as well as informational flyers of sorts at various locations throughout the city, the community center, the library, the senior center. We can put flyers up at places like B's. I'm sure we could stick a flyer in the public notice section out at Big Y, or places like that, which would let people know that we're conducting a survey and give them the information.
Even put a little, give the mayor's office a little poke.
Pardon?
Give the mayor's office a little poke.
For what?
To say, we need to find out what this city has and doesn't have, and we need to find out how many.
Okay, the mayor's office is aware that we're doing this survey and is in favor of us
Very
doing it.
supportive.
Oh, no, I know she's very supportive and very active, but
So-
I'm just saying that.
Well, I had an idea for, I mean, you mentioned trying to get money to get a banner so that we could go to different events. Why couldn't we set up something at the pond on the boardwalk on at least one day?
Right.
Have balloons, have some, some
Farmer's
fun
market.
looking thing.
Yeah.
Farmer's market, that would be a good idea. But then, and let people have the survey there to hand out to people who want to take it. But just, for us to just get out there, even if we don't have the banner, let's sit there.
The banner isn't stopping me from doing anything.
Okay, well, I'm willing to sit at a card table and,
So am I, but first we have to get the survey through.
I know, but I'm
Okay.
saying that all the things that we've talked about so far about publicizing it still are not going to reach the people who are just not tuned in to the technology.
You don't necessarily have to reach the people, you can reach people that know the people.
And that's why, you set out downtown. In places where the people are, and we all know there are loads of people who come to the boardwalk and you could sit up outside Mount Tom.
Well, that would make the sidewalk a little tight, I think.
Yeah.
It is, yes, yes, if somebody's trying to push a wheelchair through there on a hot day.
Yeah, half of my life I'm pushing a wheelchair or a stroller, Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay, what I gave you is the survey that we're working on. What we're doing, we're in the process of going through it. It's a survey that was originally done for Cambridge, England. But because the questions are so good, we're using what we can of it and changing what we need to make it applicable for us.
I will let the brain injury support group meet on the first Friday, and of course this week they're doing it on the second because of the month having a holiday. But I will bring a copy of it and see if there's anybody there who lives in Easthampton who would like to spread that around. Again, people with disabilities know other people with disabilities.
Oh, it's a draft. It's
This
not
is a
ready for
draft copy.
distribution.
This is not completed.
Okay,
So it's not for general distribution,
okay.
because in this current form, it won't make sense to anybody because it still talks about England.
Right,
We're
but,
in the process of going through this to see what we can save and use for ourselves and what needs to be changed to make it applicable for our needs. Okay? So we're still a bit of a ways off here from having a complete survey, and then once the commission decides that we're good to go with this, then it has to be entered into SurveyMonkey.
Okay, I will take a look at it and
Pardon?
I will take a look at it.
Okay.
And come back to it.
So, I can't recall if we finished squabbling about number 6 or if we still have issues with it.
which one is number 6?
On to survey now?
Oh, right, so the issue was, where is it, unseen disability. We were going to move that option to somewhere
I
else.
used a slash, unseen / invisible disabilities, i.e. PTSD, chronic pain.
Right,
Okay.
but we were also gonna move that option into question 7, because it's
Which-
not really in the same category as the other options in question 6.
Well, it's the same, it's,
Hang on a minute.
At least that's what I thought we had decided to do.
So we're going to put unseen invisible disability under question 7?
That's what I remember.
doesn't make sense.
or in a separate, I don't know, but I was arguing that it doesn't make sense here in question 6. It's not in the same category as the other options.
It's not in the same category as the others.
Some other,
I disagree.
the entire disability, like there's a whole disabled, there's a whole disability studies and civil rights movement that would jump down the throat of that statement. Yeah.
What are you saying, that it should not be there, that term, or should be expressed in a different way?
Well, no, yeah, don't move it, because a hidden disability is a category of
Yeah.
disability. Or at least, if they wanna, if they feel like they should be filling out this survey and they feel, if they identify as disabled, then that's the place,
Well, I think more importantly, it's necessary to stress that we're not only looking for people with visible disabilities. And I think that,
Yeah.
I think if we take it out, if we were to take it out of 6, where would we put it? It certainly doesn't fit in under 7.
Yeah.
7 talks about feelings.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I just think it should be a separate question.
No, it shouldn't. Hidden disabilities are under the broad umbrella of what disability
It's
is.
just non-visible. It's
Well,
not
it's just that any other type of disability could be unseen or not. It's not a separate type of disability.
But what we're asking people to identify is, do you have one of those unseen disabilities?
You could just break it down to unseen disability and,
A developmental disability could be unseen. A learning disability could be unseen. A
Right.
mental health or emotional disability could be unseen. A physical disability could be unseen. A sensory disability could be unseen.
That's true.
It's
Those are all
a
the
different
same
kind
category.
of, it's a different kind of thing than the
I get-
other options.
Like, okay, I get what you're saying now. Can we say other instead of unseen? Would that be better?
Could we just put other unseen or
Other slash
invisible
unseen.
disability?
Other unseen and
So we'll move that one
visible.
down to the bottom.
Sure.
The word unseen is, it's odd.
Pardon?
I'm sorry, this isn't my business.
Well, no, it is your business. It's the word unseen what?
Non-visual, it might not be noticed by the public, but it's unseen,
Right.
well,
sounds odd.
I've heard it referred to as invisible.
Invisible.
That's
yeah.
why I put both terms.
Yeah. If someone identifies it as their term, we want them to feel like they can use it. Even if you think the word is, even if the word is weird.
No, I
There's a lot of words that are weird that we use.
Do we need to know specifically whether it's a developmental versus a learning versus whatever type
The
disability?
question is, how would you describe your disability?
Right.
Would you describe it as a developmental
Well,
disability?
what I'm thinking is to try and make this a little worse, not so bulky. Just ask, do you feel like you have a physical disability or an invisible? Because all of those are invisible.
No, not necessarily.
Well, they-
Developmental, learning, mental health,
Well, they all could be
sensory.
invisible.
They could be, yes.
Right, which is why I think it's confusing to have unseen as one of the options in this question. I think it needs to be separate, because it's a
What do you think?
independent
I know, these
property.
questions.
Right.
Yeah. Questions.
Well, I'm really gonna have to understand it before I can give you any of my opinion. I'm gonna have to look it over and understand what you're speaking about.
So, okay, we're still stuck on that one. Come on.
Should we do like a meta survey about survey terminology and which we prefer?
Survey about surveys?
A survey
Well,
about
we've had two
surveys.
surveys, about 3 different surveys. Can you take a look at them?
Sure.
Okay. Let's look at number 7. Oh, and then actually under that, we also had this, if you use an alternative term, please describe. So let's go to number 7 for now. Does your disability cause you to
I thought 6 was the only one we were still working on. I thought we were satisfied with the others.
Okay. I've got 6 highlighted. It needs work, apparently. So let's move on to number 7. Does your disability to cause you to feel any of the following? Tick as many as apply. Is that okay as it is?
Well, are you leaving, did we eliminate, how does your disability affect you? That's the beginning of the sentence I have.
Number 6.
You want to change the question itself?
Are you talking about 7?
Yes.
No, I'm just asking, because you didn't read, how does your disability affect you? You said, does it make you feel?
Because apparently, at some
Did we
point,
eliminate that?
I'm gonna excuse myself.
Yes.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Nice meeting you.
And join you next month. I did not realize what this was. I'm high. I apologize if I come.
Are you going to be coming back? Would you like
Oh, no. Hey,
would you like me to send you an agenda for our next meeting?
yes, whatever email that I got, I would appreciate
Okay.
getting it again. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I didn't take too much of your time.
You didn't. We're glad to have you. And please, come back.
Thank you.
Yeah, we did change the wording of the question from the original wording. But I thought that we were already in agreement about all the questions except 6.
Throughout the entire document.
Yeah, I thought that
We haven't reviewed the entire document in front of this commission yet.
I thought we did.
The subcommittee did.
No, at last month's.
No, we didn't get through the entire document.
Oh, okay.
All right, so,
We didn't answer the
let me see.
Oh, all right.
Oh, here's one.
Oh, okay, see, at some point, we worded it, and this is probably done in the subcommittee. Does your disability to cause you, I stuck in the word to, feel any of the following?
Okay.
So we do have a different
Yeah,
question than this one.
That's better.
So,
We know how the disability affects you if you've got one, but we want to know how it makes you feel.
wait,
Or, okay.
did all of these copies got sucked up? Okay. I'll make you a copy of, I don't know how you got that one.
You gave me this first time I came.
I assumed I gave it to you, but how I managed to give you that copy without the edits in it, I don't know. It
So
just
maybe that
happened.
was before we made the edits.
That could be. Okay. So the current question, number 7, is does your disability cause you to feel any of the following? Tick as many as apply. Are we happy with that?
Are you going to search and replace tick?
Right.
I do have that highlighted to do a find and remove.
Find and remove or whatever it is?
So, where do we have find and remove?
Is it search and replace? I haven't used it for so long. I don't remember. But you don't have to do that right now.
Are those your glasses, Jim?
Pardon?
Are those your glasses?
Yes,
Okay.
I just switched. All right, so we'll remove tick throughout the document. What is your current employment situation? Are we happy with that? Okay. Household income, pretty straightforward. Who do you live with? And number 10, who do you live with? Alone, partner, care for person, care provider, guardian, children under 18, friends, family, parents.
Cats.
And do we want to add check all that apply? Because
Certainly.
more than one would.
And pets, service animals. What type of home do you live in? That has a drop-down box with house, apartment, nursing home, residential home. We can change some of those terms to fit, because, flat is one of them. So we'll change those to make them more appropriate. Level of education is pretty straightforward.
Should there be an other for housing? I don't know what.
Tent.
Like
Yeah,
in
tents.
question 11, what type of home do you live in?
Yeah.
Other is below that.
Oh, other, please specify. Okay, cool, there's another.
Level of education.
Excuse me, is there some place in this survey that asks if the place where you live is ADA compliant or?
I'm not sure. Does anybody else remember?
No, that's a good.
I don't recall
This is
seeing
written
this.
in England, I doubt it.
Yeah,
Because we
because they don't
need
have any today.
we need to know. We need to know how
Yeah,
many
you're
people are
right.
living in
So,
situations, not entirely.
Is your home ADA compliant? If no, please describe.
employment, what is your household income? Who do you live with? All right, so then,
Would people taking the survey necessarily know what is and isn't an ADA compliant?
Accessible / ADA compliant. They know what accessible means to
Yeah.
them if they don't know what the ADA actually specifies.
Yep.
But then are we, if we say accessible, are people only going to think of ramps and wider doors?
Does your home interfere,
how about, something, is
Yeah.
putting
Meet the
the
needs of
question
your
something like,
disability.
is your living space accessible to meet your needs?
Ah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sure.
something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that seems more useful information too.
Yeah,
That seems
Yeah.
like more useful information too,
I agree.
because not everyone who's disabled needs an ADA compliant
Yeah.
place to live.
What question was this?
It's
Make it up.
11, and this question is going to be
Oh.
11A. Does your current living Does your current living situation meet your needs for accessibility? Does that sound okay, or?
I'm happy with that.
Sure.
Should that be a yes, no, and if no, please explain?
Yeah, yeah, we need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, the alternative is like a checklist that we're never gonna ever do, and so just have it open-ended.
So then 12 is level of education. If you live in Easthampton, which precinct?
Which precinct? I didn't know we had precincts.
You've never
The
voted?
voting districts are called
Yeah.
precincts here.
Well, I do vote. I did vote. I was
Yeah.
able to vote the first time, but okay.
And you don't
Yeah.
remember which precinct you were set to?
I don't remember what
Well, I
precinct.
know where I voted, but I don't know what.
Where'd you
Well,
vote?
you can only vote in one of two places, the high school or Whitebrook.
Whitebrook,
So then you're
even
in.
though the high school is closer.
One.
I actually think you're in
Precinct.
precinct 2.
Well, the question is, will other people know that?
Yeah, no one
And
knows
why?
their precinct
And
offhand.
why do we need to know that?
So then do we want to eliminate that question?
What, or, I mean, we want some sense of geographic, I don't know, maybe,
Yeah, I don't see how we would use that information.
Well, certainly when we're talking about things like bus schedules.
Right. The city councilor
You know?
assigned
Yeah.
to precincts, right?
Right, so 5 of the city councilors are assigned to precincts, the other 4 are at large.
could we have a pick list of like regions in Easthampton, like Arts, Cottage Street / Arts District, down,
I'm not
I don't know.
redistricting the city for the
No,
sewer.
okay.
I think that we can put what precinct do you live in, if they know.
They don't know.
They can, we can
Yeah.
put, 1 through 5 or unsure.
What street maybe, if not just open-ended, what street, We could leave.
I don't know that that's the kind of information we're allowed to collect. That could be a violation of privacy.
We could say, what major street do you live nearest to?
Yeah.
How about what precinct do you live in,
I think-
1 through 5 or unsure?
Right.
Okay.
If they want to answer the
Yeah.
question, they can find out what precinct they live
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
in,
Good.
And if they don't feel like bothering with that, they can just put unsure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. If you live outside of Easthampton, where do you live? If you are in university accommodation, at which university or college are you studying?
We don't need that question because there's no universities in Easthampton. We don't,
There aren't.
yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we don't have people with
Okay.
disabilities going to schools.
Okay.
And granted, there may not be university accommodations in Easthampton,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that a person who is actually an Easthampton resident and living away at school isn't living in accessible accommodations. So,
But why do we need to, why are we asking that? What would we do with that information?
I think it would be helpful to know how many people live in Easthampton who are actually attending university.
Yeah, I guess in the same way that you'd want to know that people are working,
Right.
If, for example, this situation with the busing and stuff like
Yeah.
that, this is information that we can use to help
Good point.
prevent further cuts to route services and things like that. If we can, submit information to PVTA that says, we've got this number of students enrolled at UMass who need that bus service, or, those kinds of things.
Okay.
That's good to know, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, living in Easthampton with the disabilities, which is section 2. Yeah, are we all happy with section 1?
Sure.
Except for 6.
Except for 6, yes.
Tom, you doing okay?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Okay, all right, it's 11 o'clock. Since we finished section 1, why don't we adjourn for today?
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion.
I second.
All in favor? Yay.
Aye.
Okay.